Okay, hey guys, welcome. It is a Monday night, June 17th, in preparation. No, I'm sorry, it's Monday night, June 16th, in preparation for Tuesday, June 17th. I see that the just after midnight on Asia hours here, or New York hours. But again, in preparation for Tuesday, June 17th, it is the start of the FOMC meetings. Wednesday, we have VIX expiration. Wednesday, we have the conclusion of the FOMC meetings. Friday, we have quad witching, which technically it's only triple witching nowadays, but it's still referred to as quad witching because it was for so long. Where you have the expiration of the futures options, the stock options, and the index futures all expiring on the same time there. Single stock futures stopped being part of the quad witching back in 2020. But anyway, so a lot of crosswinds again this week. But we're going to start into the next section here in the Market Wizards interview with top traders by Jack Swagger. This is part two, mostly stocks. Gentleman's name is Michael Steinhardt. And a lot of the beginning section here, I don't have a lot here, but then towards the end, we're basically going to finish up his whole chapter here tonight. Steinhardt's superior performance has been achieved by using a myriad of approaches. He is both a long-term investor and a short-term trader. He is as comfortable shorting stocks as buying them. I feel like that's key. We have to be comfortable doing both. Give me one moment. A lot of the chapter I just didn't really, have highlighted sections in. That's, not really jumping out to me until we got towards the end here. Schwager says, what would be the most important advice you could give to the layman? And Michael Steinhardt says, one of the allures of this business is that sometimes the greatest ignoramus can do very well. That is unfortunate because it creates the impression that you do not necessarily need any professionalism to do well. And that is a great trap. So the key is we have to have professionalism in the way we trade. So the major advice that I would give anyone is recognize that this is a very competitive business and that when you decide to buy or sell a stock, you are competing with people who have devoted a good portion of their lives to this same endeavor. In many instances, these professionals are on the opposite side of your trades, and on balance, they are going to beat you. What is the elements of good trading? Asked Swagger. Michael Steinhardt's answer is good trading is particular balance between the conviction to follow your ideas and the flexibility to recognize when you have made a mistake. You need to believe in something, but at the same time, you are going to be wrong wrong a considerable number of times. The balance between confidence and humility is best learned through extensive experience and mistakes. There should be a respect for the person on the other side of the trade. Always ask yourself, why does he want to sell? What does he know that I don't? Finally, you have to be intellectually honest with yourself and others. In my judgment, all great traders are seekers of truth. I thought that was good there. And then Jack Swagger's concluding statements here. Steinhardt's variant perception is basically a contrarian approach. But you cannot be a successful contrarian by just using sentiment survey numbers or other measures of bullish consensus. The markets don't pay off that easily. Although sentiment is always very bullish at tops and very bearish at bottoms, unfortunately, extreme bullish and bearish readings are also characteristics of extended trends. The tick is not being a contrarian. I'm sorry, not the tick. Sorry, the trick is not being a contrarian, but being a contrarian at the right time. That is so important. Such judgments cannot be made on the basis of a simple formula. The successful contrarian needs to be able to filter out true opportunities, which that to me implies discretionary trading. Steinhardt's filters are a combination of a keen sense of fundamentals and market timing. Flexibility is another essential element to Steinhardt's extremely favorable risk and return performance characteristics. The flexibility is demonstrated by the equal ease at which he goes short or long, as well as his willingness to trade markets other than stocks when warranted by his perception of fundamentals. The more things you bring to the table, shorting, hedging, participating in bond markets, futures markets, trading, and so on, the better off you are, he says. One trait that I have noticed among traders is the I'm sorry, this is Jack Swagger saying, one trait I have noticed among a number of the great traders is their willingness and ability to take on a particularly large position when they perceive a major trading opportunity. The nerve and the skill required to step on the accelerator at the right time is certainly one of the elements that separates good traders from exceptional traders. Steinhardt's heavy positions in the Treasury notes during 81 and 82 is a perfect example of this characteristic. Conviction is probably an important quality for any trader, but it is essential to the contrarian trader. Steinhardt has repeatedly demonstrated amazing resolve in maintaining large positions during difficult times, as long as he was convicted that he was still right. Witness his conviction in staying with the Treasury note position during the 6-month climax in interest rates in 1981, remaining immune not only to the market move against him, but also to the psychological pressures of complaining investors who question and sudden transitions into treasuries after a career as a stock trader. Throughout it all, Steinhardt held on and even built his position because he remained convicted that he was right. Without his strong sense of conviction, the world probably would have never have heard of Michael Steinhardt. Steinhardt also stresses that there are no absolute formula or fixed patterns. The markets are always changing, and the successful trader needs to adapt to these changes. In Steinhardt's view, traders who try to find fixed approaches will be doomed to failure sooner or later. All right, that's the end of that. I don't have a whole lot here, guys. I did have that possibly with the slow line moving up, and you saw this in the 120-minute chart. This is a 240-minute chart, but the slow line moving up and that pullback to the moving average, which, like I said, that's already played out in the. Here, I'll go ahead and click over there. 120-minute. This is something I had after hours here that we could come back to this 120-minute moving average while we were still moving up here in the slow line. Well, that's played out in Asia session. We kind of jostled around that, actually blew through it a little bit and came back up here. So that premise is off the table for now. But the 240-minute chart, I did want to show this. So some of my, oh, hang on, let me pull in some other data here. Maybe. There we go. Okay, so this is that big gap showing up on the ESU. This is now the front month here. That big gap that happened when we went the Asians Gone Wild session here. There's other gaps that I'll show you again on the gap chart. I'll pull that over here in just a moment. But I did want to show this. So we've got kind of some of these points here where we've hit this line here, hit it right here. We hit it right here again. So we've had at least 2 touches of that line. We've also had multiple, touches here. It touched back here. We've touched it again here and came close to touching it again here. We have this yellow line where we've touched this a couple times in here. These points here. We've come back down, touched it here, and again, one more over here. Sorry. Let me kind of pull this down here for you guys. Okay. Maybe give it a little better. Okay. And then one other here. So we've got this touch here and this touch here and one here. So I have some potential box points here. The latest being these lows here, and that comes in at 59.79 or 59.80. So I kind of want to watch that 59.80 zone. The latest top ones come in around 61.09, 61.10. So we want to watch that zone there. And then this yellow line here at 60.46, 50 is kind of like a little bit of this price overlap congested area here. So if we do bounce off this 240-minute chart or 240-minute moving average and move up, I don't know that we will have a trend like day up out of this. I'm not dismissing that, but I'm not sure that we will, um, with all the crosswinds that we have this week. Okay, so showed you that on the 240-minute chart here. I'm going to go ahead and pull over a 60-minute dot D chart here, which shows you some of the same type stuff here. We have these gaps from below from back in April. This gap was back in late April also. This gap here is May, early May. That's that big one. We have another gap here in May 23rd to 27th. So we have a number of these gaps still below, guys. It's just a matter of time before we go back down and fill those. But I went ahead and marked these same numbers or same lines off on this chart so you can see it on a dot D version. Pull this down here. So on a dot D version, we did do that move up today. That was beautiful. Kind of a nice range expansion, then kind of tapered off the rest of the day. So this could be a move up, a little bit of a bull flag for one additional push up. That absolutely could happen here. However, if we move up and then we fail that and start coming back down, then I'm going to want to be a little more bearish here. But I want to be open to the idea that is possible. I think where I'm kind of thinking right now is sell these highs, buy these lows for now, which that's quite a range. We're talking about 59.79 to 61.09. A lot of play in that area that could play out. Now, again, keep in mind if this is a bull flag and we flag and move on up, be careful trying to short too soon here. Matter of fact, it would almost be a look to get on long there. But again, as I mentioned, beware of false breakouts or false breakdowns. I mentioned the quad witching. I don't think I have anything else really to speak of. Yeah, our VIX just, we got some pretty good movement, good ranges there in the VIX. We'll more so just watching the direction. Tomorrow we could have, some good play opportunities tomorrow, and then Wednesday, a lot of times after the morning session, it slows down, waiting for that FOMC announcement. So we just want to be aware of that for this week. All right, that's it, guys. Happy trading. Trade safe, have fun. Let's continue to help one another. Buddy, if you would reach out to the group tomorrow, if you're not planning on being on in the mornings and you're only going to jump on in the afternoons, just let us know. It's not a big deal, but it'd be nice if we had somebody on board with you in the afternoons as well. So, all right, guys, take care, and we will talk again tomorrow.